Welcome to Honeybee, real stories of love, lies, and betrayal, where every truth stings. Let's begin. Now, let me ask you this. Have you ever heard the saying that sometimes jokes can cross the line? Well, today's story shows exactly how one harmless joke can change everything. It can take away your peace of mind, shatter trust, and even destroy a marriage. This is the story of a husband and wife who had been together for years, until one joke she thought was innocent tore apart everything they had built. Before I dive into the details, do me a quick favor. Hit that like button, get comfortable, and stay with me. Because trust me, you don't want to miss this one. Charlotte and Gabriel seemed like the perfect couple. They had been married for years, built a life side by side, and moved through their routines like any ordinary pair. They were also part of a close group of friends who had been hanging out for years. Every weekend, someone in the group would host, rotating houses, so everyone had a chance to bring people together. It was their way of staying close, no matter how busy life got. Some of them went back as far as college. Others had met at work or through mutual friends. But over time, they all became like extended family. These gatherings were more than just parties. They were filled with food, drinks, laughter, and stories. For some, it was a way to relax after a long week. For others, it was how friendship stayed alive. And sometimes, these nights even sparked business opportunities. Partnerships were formed over barbecues. Deals were made over casual conversations by the pool, and new doors opened between glasses of wine. It was networking without the awkwardness. Friends simply helping each other out. Gabriel and Charlotte were always there. They blended right in, comfortable with everyone. And that's exactly where things went wrong. Charlotte never realized that one offhand remark in the middle of casual chatter would trigger a storm she couldn't undo. That night, a small group started discussing relationships. Eventually, the topic of cheating came up, as it often does. Maybe it was because of a celebrity scandal or because someone had a real-life story to share. Either way, opinions came flying. Some insisted cheating was a deal-breaker, no excuses. Others said life was complicated, that not every affair was black and white. The conversation bounced between light-hearted jokes and serious opinions, until Charlotte spoke up. Cheating isn't always that bad, she said casually, with just enough weight to make people pause. People shouldn't be so quick to judge. Besides, even if I were cheating, my husband would never know. Her words hung in the air. Some laughed nervously, unsure if they actually found it funny or were just trying to break the tension. Others glanced at Gabriel, watching for his reaction. A few exchanged awkward looks as if to say, did she really just say that? But for Gabriel, it wasn't a joke. It was like an old scar had been ripped open. He sat there quietly, mind racing. For the others, it might have been a silly comment, something to laugh off. But for him, it hit differently. It dragged him back to a painful place in his past. When he saw the chance, he pulled Charlotte aside. Why would you say something like that? He asked, locking eyes with her. Are you cheating? He needed to understand why she would make such a reckless statement. But Charlotte brushed him off. Oh, come on, Gabriel. Don't be ridiculous. I was just playing devil's advocate. Her tone was sharp, dismissive, as if he was the one making a big deal out of nothing. You're overreacting. Grow up. She didn't reassure him, didn't even try. She acted like his feelings weren't worth acknowledging. Gabriel just stood there, stunned. The weight of the moment pressed down on him. Finally, without another word, he walked away. He left the party in silence, weaving past groups of laughing friends. He couldn't stop thinking. Was she joking? Was she hinting at something? He didn't know. All he knew was that he felt humiliated. Later that night, Charlotte stormed into the house, slamming her purse down. How dare you leave me like that, she snapped. You embarrass me in front of everyone. Gabriel said nothing. He just sat there in silence. For the next few days, the house was filled with cold shoulders and silence. Charlotte barely spoke to him, and when she did, it was clipped as though he was the one who owed her an apology. She clearly expected him to say sorry and move on, but Gabriel wasn't seeing it that way. What hurt him most wasn't the joke. It was how she dismissed his feelings afterward. She didn't care why he was upset, and that stung more than anything. There was no softening. No, I didn't mean it like that. Let's talk. Instead, she carried on as if his emotions were an inconvenience. He realized this wasn't just about a joke. It was about respect. After days of silence, Charlotte decided it was time to move on. Not by apologizing or addressing the hurt, but by acting as though nothing had happened. One evening, Gabriel sat on the couch scrolling through his phone when Charlotte walked in, sat beside him, and started chatting like they were a happy couple again. But Gabriel wasn't listening. He watched her closely before cutting her off. "Save your energy for the divorce papers," he said. Her face went blank. For a moment, she thought he was joking. When he didn't laugh, she froze. "Wait, what?" she whispered, searching his face. But he offered no explanation. He simply stood up and walked away. Later that night, Charlotte found him in his office. Paper spread across his desk. "Are you really going to throw away our marriage over a joke?" she demanded. Gabriel looked up slowly. "Was it just a joke, Charlotte? Or were you telling on yourself?" For the first time, she didn't have a comeback. She stammered, "Oh, come on, Gabe. You know I didn't mean it like that." But he wasn't letting her off easy. "You didn't just say it. When I asked you, you shut me down. You made me feel like I was crazy. It's not only about the words. It's about how you handled it afterward." Her arms dropped. For the first time, she realized he was dead serious. Days later, a knock came at the door. A man in a suit handed her an envelope. "Mrs. Charlotte, you've been served." She stared at the divorce papers in shock. She never thought he'd actually go through with it. Panic set in. She called her best friend, Maya. Gabriel filed for divorce over a stupid joke. Maya sighed. "Charlotte, I can see why he's upset. Did you even try to reassure him?" Charlotte hung up, frustrated. She called Gabriel's best friend, Lucas, hoping he'd defend her. "Lucas, please talk to him. He's overreacting." But Lucas didn't take her side either. "Charlotte, that joke hit him in a place you don't understand." And that's when it hit her. She had been so focused on proving she was right that she never thought about why Gabriel reacted the way he did. Because some wounds never fully heal. See, years ago, Gabriel had been deeply betrayed. His first love, the one he trusted completely, admitted one day that she had been cheating on him the entire time. She broke up with him without remorse, leaving scars he thought had faded. He built walls around himself for years, keeping people at a distance, until Charlotte came along. She felt safe, someone he could trust. Slowly, he let his guard down again. But that night at the party, when Charlotte made her joke, all those old wounds came rushing back. Now, Charlotte was desperate, trying to talk to him, pretending nothing had happened, hoping he'd eventually forgive her. But Gabriel was done. The damage was too deep. She thought he was bluffing. But those divorce papers told her otherwise. And all of it started with one careless joke. So, what can we take from this? First, words matter. You might think it's harmless, but to someone else, it could cut deeper than you ever realize. Second, disrespect can hurt more than the mistake itself. Maybe if Charlotte had reassured Gabriel instead of mocking him, things could have been different. And finally, old wounds don't always disappear. Sometimes, one wrong word can drag someone right back into their deepest pain. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Gabriel made the right choice by walking away? Or was it an overreaction? Should Charlotte have been more careful with her words? Or was it truly just a joke? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your perspective might help someone going through something similar.